All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, and you know what that means. Time to dive deeper into the lost wisdom of the pharaohs and hermetics in the Corpus Hermeticum, the divine Pymander. Original manuscript, Hermes Trismegistus, 3rd century AD. This is a new edition, 2015, edited by Tarl Warwick. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're excited because we dive into the section entitled His Secret Sermon in the Mount of Regeneration and Profession of Silence. So this sounds very exciting, very fascinating, and it, ladies and gentlemen, is a long one. So we'll probably be doing the first half in this video and then the second half next week, but we will see where we get through the 99 verses in this book of the Corpus Hermeticum, or this chapter, if you would like to call it that. But previously on this series, if you haven't been here with us so far, and if you have, then thank you so much. I love and appreciate you for joining us on this exciting, profound, mind-expanding journey. But we've gone through Hermes Trismegistus, his first book, and then we went through Pymander. And then the third book, I like to call it, was the Holy Sermon, which reminds me of today's title, His Secret Sermon in the Mount. But after the Holy Sermon, we went through the key, and then that God is not manifest, and yet is most manifest. And that was a deep description about God. A lot of this so far has been a description of creation of the elements of reality, of the nature of God himself, and many, many other things, talking about the soul and the spirit and the creation of humankind, and so much of the answers to the deepest questions. But as Hermes Trismegistus, or Thoth, the Egyptian sage god, puts it, that the real secret to understanding any of this is a constant contemplation. Pure philosophy is spiritual striving through a constant contemplation to attain true knowledge of Atum, the one God. Those are the first words of Hermes in the Hermetica, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll keep that there for reference because we like to reference that often. And let us, without further ado, dive into today's section, His Secret Sermon in the Mount of Regeneration, Profession of Silence. And thank you for being here. Hope everybody's got themselves a beverage and is comfy, because this is going to be profound. All right. It begins by saying, number one, in the general speeches, O Father, discoursing of the divinity, you spoke enigmatically and did not clearly reveal your purpose, saying that no man can be saved before regeneration. Number two, and when I did humbly entreat you at the going up to the mountain, after you spoke to me, having a great desire to learn this argument of regeneration, because among all the rest, I am ignorant only of this. You told me that you would teach me when I would estrange myself from the world. Whereupon I made myself ready and have vindicated the understanding that is in me from the deceit of the world. Number three, now, then correct my ignorance, and as you said, instruct me about regeneration, either by word of mouth or secretly, for I know not, O Trismegistus, of what substance or what seed or what womb a man is thus born. For he replied, O son, this wisdom is to be understood in silence, and the seed is the true good. Very fascinating there. See, Hermes, or yes, Hermes seems to be, or a son. I always have a confusion of who's talking to who, whether it's the mind of God or Hermes talking to God, or sometimes he's talking to Asclepius. But it seems here that he's like, after all of these discourses and conversations that we've had in the previous chapters of this book, he's like, you have not told me or clearly revealed. You've kept it kind of hidden within the words. And if you've been here through this series, you can see how it touches on so many different subjects as far as, astronomy and philosophy and the reality of nature and like so many deep things. And so here he's either Hermes or God replies to Hermes. He says, "Oh son, this wisdom is to be understood in silence." And that is very fascinating because most often it is that constant, we were talking about it in yesterday's video. You can seek wisdom for the sake of wisdom itself, but the actual implementation and acclamation and then usage and putting that into action as a part of your redefined or new reality, or to put it simply, just a new way of going about life with a different understanding. And that's why we're here. If you haven't heard me say it before, but I say it every video, is we are here to seek to achieve enlightenment or happiness through a greater awareness and understanding of not only ourselves, but of the nature of reality and of God, and that being all of reality and us being a part of that, but so that we can improve the quality of our life, of the time that we have here. It's made up of moments. And so why not try to increase the quality of those moments? Now, let us get back. He replies, "O son, this wisdom is to be understood in silence, and the seed is the true good." Number 5, Thoth replied, "Who sows it, O father? For I am utterly ignorant and doubtful." 6, he replied, "The will of God, O son. And what manner is he that is thus born? For in this point I am clean deprived of the essence of understanding." So apparently he still doesn't get it. And if neither do you, then I think that's a good thing. Because if we felt like we were understanding all of this, we would probably be missing the point. Now, number 8, he replied, "The Son of God will be another. God made the universe, that in everything consists of all powers." 9, Thoth said, "Tell me a riddle, father, and do not speak as a father to a son." 10, he replied, "Son, things of this kind are not taught, but are by God, when he pleases, brought to remembrance." 11, Thoth said, "You speak of things strange or far-fetched and impossible, father, and therefore I will directly contradict them." He replied, "You will test a stranger's son to your father's kind?" Thoth said, "Do not envy me, father, or pardon me. I am your natural son. Discourse unto me the manner of regeneration." So it seems to me that Thoth, the son here, he doesn't want to listen to the advice that you will find this understanding or this insight about regeneration. And I'm not sure what the regeneration refers to. It talked about in previous chapters the reincarnation through processes, kind of afterlife style processes, but the way I described it was much deeper than that. And that may be what this regeneration is referring to. We will get there. But I just thought it was interesting that he didn't want the silence route, the meditative route. He's like, "No, I want to hear it. You have to tell me now." He's like, "Quit giving me these riddles of like the understanding will come through the silence." He replied, "This wisdom is to be understood in silence, and the seed is true good." He goes, "But I'm doubtful." And he goes, "This is the will of God." And he goes, "What manner can this be done?" He goes, "I am deprived of this essence of understanding." The Son of God will be another. God made the universe, and everything consists of all powers. And then he's like, "Come on, Father, like quit telling me all of these riddles, or tell me a riddle, but do not speak as a father to a son. So maybe say it in a different way. This is just me trying to understand this. And in the comments previously, people seem to enjoy my ramblings, but let's get back to the words here. Because the important part for me so far was things of this kind are not taught. You don't just teach it to something or teach it to someone. You have to gain it through some sort of personal experience. He says, son, things of this kind are not taught, but are by God when he pleases, and I'll add when he wills, or when you are ready. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. It says, when he pleases, these things will be brought to remembrance. I'll add, for you. But, so then he tests him. He says, you speak of these things strange or far-fetched and impossible, and that's probably what most people hear when I do these videos, or at least most normal people that click off after the first 30 seconds. So if you're still here, thank you for being here. But, and so Todd is saying that to, I guess, God or the mind of God, Atum, maybe. But will you test a stranger, son? To your father's kind. Tot said, do not envy me or pardon me. I am your natural son. So discourse unto me the manner of regeneration. Number 14, he replied, what shall I say, O my son? I have nothing to say more than this, that I see in myself a perfect sight, made by the mercy of God. And I am gone out of myself into an immortal body, and am not now what I was before, but was begotten in mind. So let me read that again real quick. I have nothing to say more than this, that I see in myself a perfect sight, made by the mercy of God, that I am gone out of myself into an immortal body, and am not now what I was before, but was begotten in mind. Profound, powerful. 15, this thing is not taught, nor is it to be seen in this formed element, for which the first compounded form was neglected by me, and that I am now separated from it. For I have both the touch and the measure of it, yet am I now estranged from them? 16, you see, O son, with your eyes, but through you never look so steadfastly upon me. With the body and the bodily sight, you cannot see nor understand what I am now. Very fascinating. So he's saying he has become this non-physical spiritual version. He says, I am not what I was before, but was begotten in mind. So it's like part of it still exists, but it's like he's transcended the part that is stuck in the material physical realm. See, he says, for the first compounded form, and I thought it very interesting, it's not taught, nor is it seen in this formed element. So maybe meaning in the physical realm, which is dependent upon the elements for its formation, or its, physicality or concrete existence, for which the first compounded form was neglected by me. That one confuses me. Leave me a comment if you know what he meant by that. And that I am now separated from it. Very fascinating. For I have both the touch and measure of it, yet I am now estranged from them. You see, O son, with your eyes, but you never look so steadfastly upon me. So, like he said earlier, he has this sight of mind, which is a different sight. He says, having nothing to say more than this, that I see in myself a perfect sight. Within yourself, not outwards, not outside of you. See, there's a great quote that says, in the idea or thinking about searching for God or spiritual understanding and a spiritual pursuit is so often we are pushing outward. It's like we're in a room with all these doors and none of the doors will open for us. And it is only when we open the doors inwardly that we find a way to the next room or to the next level. But this door opens inwardly. I see in myself a perfect sight, it says, made by the mercy of God, and I am gone out of myself into an immortal body. But now you cannot see nor understand, he says, what I am now with the body and the bodily sight. So we will not see it with our physical senses. Thoth said, you have driven me, O Father, into no small fury and distraction of mind, for I do not now see myself. See, he's getting frustrated, it seems. You have driven me into no small fury and distraction of mind. I think that's the funniest thing I've noticed so far about all of these dialogues or discourses or sermons or lectures between Thoth and Hermes Trismegistus, God, Thoth, Asclepius, whoever's talking to who in all these. The one explaining all of it will give these big, long dialogues. And then the listener is like, but what do you mean? I think I understand. This time, Thoth's getting frustrated with the fury and distraction of mind. He goes, for I do not now see myself as you described that you have. Let's continue. Number 18. He replied, I would, O son, that you also projected from your bodily form, like them that dream in their sleep. Fascinating. I didn't know it was going to go to astral projection or, out of body travel or experiences, something I've never personally done or attempted, but to each their own, because we all have different pathways to these kind of understandings. Apparently, Thoth's is in this direction. He replied, O son, I would, that you also projected from your bodily form, like them that dream in their sleep. Thoth said, then tell me this, who is the author and maker of regeneration? See, that theme of regeneration pops up again. He replied, the child of God, one man by the will of God. 21. Thoth replied, now, O Father, you have put me to silence forever, and all my former thoughts have quite left and forsaken me, for I see the greatness and shape of things here below, and nothing but falsehood in them all. Very fascinating. So, is there a part skipped there to where he's now astral projecting and seeing things in a new light? 22. And so, therefore, this mortal form is daily changed and turned by time into increase or diminishment, as being falsehood. Very fascinating. And so therefore this mortal form is daily changed and turned by time into increase or diminution, as being falsehood. What therefore is true, O Trismegistus? So this finally is a chance for me to see who's speaking to who, because Thoth, T-A-T, is apparently the son of Trismegistus. Thrice greatest is what Trismegistus translates to. And so that's fascinating. Would that mean that Thoth, Tahat, was the father of Tat, T-A-T? And that later in the Greek, Thoth became Hermes Trismegistus, but the Trismegistus was the combination of the two. And Thoth kept his name from the Egyptian over. That's a very deep area where I've yet to research, the historical and those kind of accounts about Hermetics. However, let us continue, because I'm here personally for the spiritual philosophy. Remember, seeking to achieve and maintain, a greater awareness and understanding, and through that create a greater quality of life. He replied, O son, O my son, which is not troubled, nor bounded, nor colored, nor calculated, nor changed, that which is naked, high, comprehensible, only of itself, unalterable, intangible. Thoth said, Now I am mad indeed, O father, for when I thought me to have been made a wise man by you, with these thoughts, you have instead made me dumb. 25, he replied, Yet it is so, as I say, O son, that he looks only upon that which is ascending, that which is descending, that which is moist as water, and that which blows, or is subject to blast, as air. How can he sensibly understand that which is neither hard nor moist, nor tangible, nor sublimes, seeing it only understood in power and operation? With a question mark. But I beseech and pray to the mind, which alone can understand the generation which is in God. Wow. Those two were extremely profound. That last little bit there. Hope you're getting value out of this, ladies and gentlemen. I know that I am, and I was expecting it from the title of this one, because this is extremely deep, and this is one of those that you could read over many times and catch those new insights. And it's funny, we talked about that yesterday. And so remember, constant contemplation, constant rumination, ponderation, thinking about it always is the way that we can finally, the way Dr. David Hawkins put it was, you'll be thinking about all this and you'll forget about it, and you'll be eating a peanut butter sandwich. I think he meant it jokingly, but halfway through the sandwich, you'll realize, and it'll hit you, and you'll have that new insight, like, wow. And then you'll come back to it and you'll be like, okay. He said, he that looks only upon that which is ascending, that which is descending, that which is moist as water, that which blows. So he's talking about the elements here, the air, and how he could sensibly, subject to a blast, maybe that's the fire, and the earth mixed together. How can he sensibly understand that which is neither hard nor moist, nor tangible, nor sublimes? So how can you possibly understand that which is not any of these physical things that come from the elements, but rather that which is beyond them? Maybe. As he was talking about before, he says, I am outside of this element. Something like that. However, this is incredible. And so he goes, how can he sensibly understand that which is not any of these things, seeing it is only understood by power and operation? He says, but I beseech thee and pray to the mind which alone can understand the generation which is in God. And that earlier being, like he said, with the bodily senses and sight, you cannot see these things. It is with this inner sight. I have no clue what I'm going to title this video, but hopefully it reaches the people that need to hear it. Number 26, Thoth said, Then am I, O Father, utterly unable to do it? He replied, God forbid, son. Rather draw God close to you, and he will come. But be willing, and it shall be done. Quiet the senses of the body, purging yourself from the unreasonable, brutish torments of matter. 28. Thoth asked, have I any tormentors in myself, Father? He replied, yeah. He doesn't even say yes. He says, yeah. That's funny because it does say yes many other times. I wonder how the translations actually look in that. That's funny. He replied, yeah. And those not a few, but many and fearful ones. Fascinating. Thoth said, I do not know them, Father. So Thoth sounds like a lot of us, in this position. Like, okay, so you tell me that we have these, torments within ourselves that we must release through a peace of the mind and a quieting of the senses of the body to remove the torments of this physical reality that we're stuck in the loop of with our ego mind for survival programming and all of that. We've talked about that before on this channel. Check that out. But he says, so do I even have any of these? Because most of us don't do enough self-reflection or introspection or things like that, becoming the witness to see the sides of ourself that we need to pull out of the shadow and into the light. But that's a whole different, understanding and process. Whole different podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, if you're getting value, thank you so much for being here. I love and appreciate you. Now, do I have any of these myself? And Trismegistus replies, yeah, and not even a few, but many and fearful ones, O son. Thoth says, I do not know them, Father. He replied, one torment, son, is ignorance. And it's funny, I was just kind of getting at that, how we are ignorant of our own, shadows, so to speak. A second is sorrow. So the first is ignorance, second is sorrow, third, intemperance, fourth, concupiscence, a fifth, injustice, a sixth, covetousness, a seventh, deceit, an eighth, envy, a ninth, fraud, a 10th, wrath, an 11th, rashness, and finally a 12th, maliciousness. So we could go back through that list and you could ask yourselves, are you malicious? Hopefully not. Are you rash? Of course, most of us are. Hopefully not more often than not. Do we experience wrath? Fraud, envy, that's an easy one for many to experience. Deceit, a trap that can become a habit. Covetousness, injustice, being unjust with people. And the one weird word, which I'm sure I pronounced wrong, concupiscence, meaning lust. The fourth, which was that, intemperance, sorrow, which is odd that sorrow is in there. You would think that'd be a natural, anyways. The first, ignorance, which we all suffer from in some ways. So if you feel that way sometimes, it's just fine. We're all learning and growing. And that's the key to remember, is keep going and keep growing, ladies and gentlemen. So let us continue. Number 32, they are in number 12. Think about it. 12 hours in a day, 12 months in the year, and all the significance, 12 hours in a day. You know what I mean? These double cycles, the 12 and the 12 and the great year to create 24, and all of these things that overlap, but seem to spring from these certain, what would you call them? Special number frequency codes. Let us continue. See, I ramble too much. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. They are in number 12. Under these, many more. Some which through the prison of the body do not force the inwardly placed man to suffer sensibly. Wow. So wait a minute. They are in number 12. Under these, many more. So under each of these 12 are a whole bunch of other descriptions of a similar thing. However, some which through the prison of the body do force the inwardly placed man to suffer sensibly. Suffer sensibly. See, there was a quote I thought of one time, that there was a way that we can go through the things that we are supposed to suffer from to learn and grow without actually suffering at all. But that would, you'd have to be like a really high level master in detaching from reality to just see it as a temporary experience that you are trying to navigate to grow as a soul or a spiritual being. But with that being said, remember, he was saying that there is a way, because Thoth was like, how can I do this? Am I unable to do it? And he goes, no, you got to get rid of these brutish torments that you have. And then he went through all 12 of them there. And that there is actually some of these do force the inwardly placed man, so to suffer sensibly. Does that mean the inwardly directed man? Or does that mean our soul that's trapped in the physical form? Many ways to take this. Constant contemplation. All right, let's get through the next little bit and we'll find a stopping point, ladies and gentlemen. This has been fantastic. Fantastic. 33. And they do not suddenly or easily depart from him that has obtained mercy of God. And in this consists both the manner and the reason of regeneration. For the rest, O son, hold your peace and praise God in silence. And by that means the mercy of God will not cease or be wanting in us. Therefore, rejoice, my son, from henceforward being purged by the powers of God to the knowledge of the truth. 36. For the revelation of God is come to us, and when that came, all ignorance was cast out. The knowledge of joy is come unto us, and when that comes, sorrow shall fly away to them that are capable. I call unto joy the power of temperance, a power whose virtue is most sweet. Let us take her unto ourselves, O son, most willingly. For how at her coming will she put away intemperance? Now I call forth countenance, the power which is over concupiscence. This, O son, is the stable and firm foundation of justice. For see how without labor she can chase away injustice. And we are justified, O son, when injustice is away. The sixth virtue which comes into us, I call communion, which is against covetousness. Wow. Covetousness. 42. And when that is gone, I call truth, and when she comes, error and deceit depart. See, O son, how the good is fulfilled by the access of truth. For by this means envy is gone from us. For truth is accompanied with the good, together also with the life and the light. And there came no more any torment of darkness, but being overcome, they all fled away suddenly with great anger. And he says, and we'll end it here, you have understood, O son, the manner of regeneration. For upon the coming of these 10, the intellectual generation is perfected, and then it drives away the 12 vices. And we have seen this. We have seen it in the generation itself. I'll say that once more, ladies and gentlemen. That was profound. This is a boon to the wisdom of the Corpus Hermeticum. Number 45. You have understood, O son, the manner of regeneration, for upon the coming of these 10, the intellectual generation is perfected. And then it drives away the 12 vices. And we have seen it in the generation itself. That, wow, that was amazing. For purposes of entertainment, teaching, commentary, expanding the mind, so that we can increase our awareness and understanding of reality, and so increase the quality of not only our lives, but the lives of those around us, and hopefully be the boat that raises all tides, ladies and gentlemen, because we are here to take part in a spiritual revolution, the greatest revolution that we have seen since the previous revolutions. Some wise person once said that we will discover something when we can discover the true power of this harmony, this love, some would call it, this understanding of this force that you could call Atum, the Tao, Great Spirit, grand organized design. Most just call it God, but that which we are a part of. And when we can truly come to know this, it will be the greatest discovery that we have come across since fire. So, with that being said, next week we will get through all the way up to verse 64, and then there's a section inside of this book called The Secret Song. He says, let all the nature of the world entertain the hearing of this hymn. And that's what we will be looking at next week, ladies and gentlemen. And that gets us all the way up to the next book, which is entitled The Greatest Evil in Man is Not Knowing God. So if you didn't get anything else, then that's the simplest way to think it. But wow, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to expand the description and get this book for yourself so you can put it on your shelf, so you can follow along in the future, and also have it for reference, if you're ever pondering and constantly contemplating on the nature of God. I didn't think it would go into the 12 vices. That was very fascinating, and that could be an entirely hour-long video itself, just thinking those through. But once again, I love and appreciate each and every one of you who joins me here on the channel, and I just can't thank you enough. And so I hope everybody is doing wonderful. Hope you got value. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. Oh yeah, also a link to C60 Purple Power, the most powerful antioxidant right above the pumpkin back there. Known to man, give yourself the gift of health. I've been using it for many years. And as well, a link to my Etsy shop so you can get yourself a landscape painting if you'd like. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, to seek to achieve and maintain happiness through enlightenment, through a greater awareness and understanding of the nature of reality, so that through that awareness, we can increase the quality of our lives. Remember to seek out the mysteries of our history and the hidden wisdom of the ages. And also remember that there is no way to happiness, because happiness is the way. Same thing as enlightenment. When we can create the ability to bring it to life, then all the things we've been telling ourselves, oh, I'll be happy when I get this much, or I'll be enlightened if I meditate these many hours, that becomes irrelevant, because then we already are there, and then hopefully the entire journey is wonderful. All right. Thanks again, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, be the change you want to see. Be the example you want to set.